Welcome in, Frostburg State fans, to Week 15 of the Frostburg Sports Awards. We're going to kick things off with our co-female athlete of the week, Lily Stevens. But first off, we want to mention Michaela Westry from track and field, who just set a new school record and won the hammer throw. We're wishing them the best of luck over the next 2 days at the MEC Championships for track and field. Lily, for you, scoring your 100th career point, a couple of big wins for your women's lacrosse team over the past week. How do you think you performed? How did the team perform in your eyes?
This week we played Dini, so I think we just showed out. I think in the beginning of the season we had a really hard time coming out hot. I think we had a slow start. We always like to say we're a second half team, and that can be a good thing, that can be a bad thing. And so in the beginning of the season it was not that good, but this last game playing Dini, I think we came out a little bit slow. Unfortunately, they do not have enough players to have a full team, so we play 5v5. That was just something that was kind of difficult to play because you have a lot more room instead of playing 7v7. The team did great. I think we had a lot of different people scoring, stopping the ball, getting ground balls, getting a lot of just points, and overall I think I did very well. I was not expecting to do that good. I was actually expecting to get my 100th point this upcoming week in the semifinals versus Charleston, but thankfully enough, I had a lot of good teammates who just like spread the ball out, cut through for me, fed the ball, and I couldn't do it without them, so I'm really grateful. Yeah.
It certainly seemed like a strategy for guys when your head coach Taylor Sindall will look at the numbers and see kind of where people stand in their careers. Was clearly trying to get you the ball sometimes and trying to feed you or have you feed others to get those points. And then also Steph King on attack as well, getting her 150th goal where she's looking at that. But for you guys and getting those milestones, it's clearly you see it as a team achievement, being able to share the ball around with everyone. But from a personal standpoint, what exactly does that mean to you?
So I just think that overall, just the whole team and coach just really taking the time to really figure out those points and figure out everything, I think is really special. I also think it's really special that I got to share getting those achievements with Steph. She was my big sister when I came in as a freshman. She then became my best friend and then my roommate, and then now thankfully next year she's going to become my coach. So it's just crazy how a whirlwind. I just think it means a lot to not only me but the team that everyone can just encourage one another, and I think that Coach Sindall just taking the time out of her day to come up and celebrate us and call timeout and use her timeout to celebrate our achievements is something that is really special, and I think we couldn't do it without her.
Speaking of achievements, it was also senior day that you guys celebrated against D&E on Saturday, and a good number of defenders and some midfielders in attack there to celebrate. But, I think 9 seniors it ended up being that have given their 4 years or however long they've been here to Frostburg. And, coming in as a junior, you'll have yours next year, obviously. But, what was it, the feeling and the kind of aura around the team to celebrate those 9?
I think a lot of those players and a lot of those seniors are key to our team and key to our success. So just really celebrating them. Our team has been through a lot, not only 3 coaches changing, COVID, and just the change of everything. I think those seniors have just been through a lot, and just celebrating them and making them know that we care about them and that they are important was something that was really special. And I think not only just as you can tell when you watch our games, you can see that our sideline is just very excited. So I think that's something that is also key to us and something that we really want to encourage the seniors, because now we only have 2 games left. So I think that's something that is very bittersweet, but the seniors have really just given their all, and it's really something special.
You brought up there the celebrations on the sideline. We talked a week or 2 ago to Chrissy Milburn, who's a freshman, that, you mentioned some of the early season struggles, and she said that, the team really has just come together. They've learned how to play with one another, how to, kind of get along and become friends and strong teammates on the field. How big has that been, that togetherness for you guys over these past 8 or 9 games where you guys are on an 8-game win streak, to be together and be able to get these results and really bond as a team?
Yeah, we have just done a full 180. We have just changed from night to day. In the beginning, we struggled with that. We struggled with just cheering and honestly just enjoying the game. I think we had a lot of pressure on ourselves. Coming in short last year in the championship, that was something that was really heavy on our hearts and really heavy coming into the season, just wanting to make a statement. And I think in the beginning, starting off our season hot, playing the number 2 team in the nation and then the number 25 team in the nation, there was something to be said and there was a statement we need to make. And obviously we fell short, but I think through us just not getting those wins and getting what we want, we kind of had to take a step back and look in the mirror and say, what are we doing? And it's the little things from cheering on the sideline to tapping sticks to putting goals in the back of the net to getting that ground ball. There's so many different parts. And just the whole switch, I think that is something, not only people cheering on the sidelines to people scoring goals, I think that is how we win, and that's how we have come together. We used to never really cheer on the sidelines, and now people can kind of say we're annoying. We get sideline turnovers, which is something that we used to not get just from cheering and chants, and it honestly makes it super fun. Like, I know even if I'm coming off the field, I'm going to go over there and try to scream as loud as I can and just make the most of it because college is short, college lacrosse is short. We only have a few games left, so just being on this 8-game winning streak is something that we really wanted, and we just learned that it's not just about how good you are. You can put as many points up, but you still may not win. So at the end of the day, it's about the scoreboard and how everyone contributed.
You mentioned there the loss last year to Notre Dame in the championship game, and obviously a big heartbreaker for the team, and some players took it pretty hard. But you go into this year and kind of got humbled again at Notre Dame and the one conference loss. But then Notre Dame came here, we pulled a win out, and when they were able to beat them on home turf. Now you go back and you look at the matchups. Obviously, there's a semifinal to play, but both teams are kind of circling that championship game on their schedules. And going into the tournament, what's sort of the feeling around the team? Obviously on a high with this 8-game win streak, but preparing for a big tournament and trying to get the job done this year.
It's a lot. Last year, I definitely took the loss hard. Just the back and forth. We beat them, they beat us last year, and it's the same this year. I remember playing Notre Dame this year at home, and I was talking to Steph King, and I just said, at the end of the day, at the end of the 2 hours, someone's going to come out with the win, and someone's going to come out with the losing, and so which one do we want to be? And I remember going to that game and I know a lot of people hype up Notre Dame, but I have never gone into a game more calm in my life. I was just, I'm just going to play. And this year, knowing that it's going to be a big matchup again, and it's probably going to be on their turf, just knowing that we like to say we're kind of on a revenge tour. We want that ring, and we're chasing for something honestly bigger than ourselves. We are trying to change the name for Frostburg State Women's Lacrosse. In the past, when they were in the CAC, they were not very good, but this year and last year, being in the MEC, we just are making that big statement. And so I think this year, just going in, being calm, cool, and collected, and just knowing that we need to get in and get out and get the job done is definitely something that we are excited for. But we're trying to just focus on one day at a time. We still have the semifinals, and if we come out and just think we're better than anyone else, then it could swing the other way. So just taking it one day at a time, hopefully taking down Charleston and then taking down Notre Dame.
All right, Lily, thank you for coming on today to talk to us. We really appreciate your time here between your classes, your games, and your practices. Best of luck this week in the conference tournament coming up, and congratulations on your 100th point.
Thank you.
All right, next up we will have Origen Greer from men's tennis, who is our male athlete of the week, so be sure to stay tuned for that interview. Back on the Frostburg Sports Awards, and we are here with Origen Greer from men's tennis, who's our male athlete of the week after he was named second team All-MEC for men's tennis. Origen, just want to get your thoughts on your season overall and being selected to the all-conference team.
Well, I mean, it's an honor making the team at all. I mean, it was a great season overall. I had some ups, some downs, but I mean, overall, I feel like I worked hard, had the help of my team, the support of my coaches and all that, and they just helped me reach that goal, and I reached it.
You came in last year as a freshman and immediately took over the #1 single spot for this team. And this year we brought in graduate Desire Johnson, who you formed a pretty strong partnership with in the doubles, and he took over the #2 spot, where it certainly made this team a lot stronger. And some of the results might not always indicate that, but the two of you, coming in. When you came in last year, were you expecting to kind of take this high level immediately and play against all these regionally and nationally ranked guys?
Yeah, when I came in, I didn't know the competition was that great, but I mean, I liked it a lot because it helped me push myself to become even better, to try to reach their level, and it helped me improve a lot as time went by.
Wanted to speak on Desire as a doubles partner. Kind of added a different element where you guys, sort of balance off each other, where you've got a lot of power and strength, and Desire's got sort of that, cunning quickness and between the legs sometimes you never know what you're going to get from him. But, when he came in, what was, his leadership and playing with him like for you to help grow your game and kind of learn from him?
Well, instantly when he came here, everybody instantly looked up to him. I mean, he was a role model, a leader. I mean, he helped me improve. Honestly, he was like, I don't know, he was a great role model. And I mean, together, we pushed each other to be better. And I don't know, as each match went on, we progressed, and we just kept improving. And yeah, he pushed me.
You look at this roster, and everyone except for Desire will be coming back. Obviously, he got his senior day, and a lot of sophomores and juniors and some freshmen came in using the transfer portal to great benefit. But you look at next year, and this team sort of feels like it's just growing and kind of building momentum as time has gone on. From last year to this year, a lot of growth, and then you look at next year with, hopefully what's coming in will be more improvement. How are you looking at it where you're all of a sudden going to be a junior and kind of thrust into almost a leadership role yourself, depending on how things shake out? But what's sort of the feeling around the team headed into the next season?
Honestly, what you said about me suddenly being a junior, it feels like I'm still like a kid, like still the youngin' of the team, looking up to people. But this year I was one of the oldest on the team, and next year I'm going to be one of those guys too. So I have to start being more of a leader like Desire. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Coach is doing a great job with all these new guys coming in, and I can't wait.
For you guys playing essentially 2 seasons in a way, where you have the fall where it's more sort of tournament style and you face a lot of different competition, and then you get into the spring and it's more of the nitty-gritty conference, 1v1 matchups. But how does the fall help you guys in terms of your preparation of getting ready for the MEC, of which we know is one of the top conferences in this region for tennis on both sides of the ball? But what is it, what is the sort of momentum of carrying over from that fall season, having the break, and then coming back?
Well, fall is instantly great. We start off with like the hardest group of matches that we have probably all year. So we start off going hard, and since like right off the bat, we just start working hard, playing crazy matches, and that's all to prepare us for this spring season. I feel like fall does a great job of preparing all of us for it. So yeah.
For you, when you're preparing for these matches, it's obviously sort of a long day for everyone, where you combine it with the singles and the doubles for you, and then the singles and the doubles for women. What is the sort of ups and downs on any given match day, where you're super hyped up for your match and then kind of got to wait a bit for the other matches to finish, and then sometimes you're coming back either the next day or a couple days later?
Yeah, it's always rough getting delayed, or I always have that feeling of wanting to play, especially after losing, then having to sit and watch and wait. But you just got to focus on clearing your mind and just saying it's a new match, basically new day, and you just got to clear your mind and prepare for the next one.
Well, Origen, thank you for coming on today to talk to us. You've obviously got a little bit less on your plate now that the season's done, but certainly, in the off season, you still got classes. We appreciate you being here. Congratulations on your season and for winning a place on the All-MEC team.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, next up, we will continue the awards with softball. We'll have a Coach of the Week in Bill Vasco and our co-female athlete of the week in Laura Gilford, so be sure to stay tuned for those. Back on the Frostburg Sports Awards with our co-female athlete of the week, Laura Gilford from softball. She set a new single-season stolen base record for the Frostburg softball team. Laura won 3 out of 4 games this weekend. Just want to get some of your thoughts on your performance and the team's performance overall.
I think we did super well with backing up our pitchers. We had a lot of phenomenal defense. this weekend. Some plays in the outfield, some plays in the infield. We also did a great job backing up our pitching at the plate as well. We had a lot of clutch hits, going really deep into the games and just making the most of every at-bat.
You spoke about the defense there, and I remember specifically in the couple of games against Charleston in the sweep where it seemed like every time they would come up and they would get a hard hit ball and it just would happen to fall in either your glove or in Jayla's glove out in left field or even Ava's glove in center. And the big play obviously that happened, top of the seventh, up by a run, you made the catch and able to throw the runner out at home. When you released the ball, it didn't exactly look like it would have been on point, but big credit to Katie Ernst who made the catch and then had the wherewithal to go back and tag the runner. But, that seemed to be the play that kind of won the game for us. Did it feel that way in your mind when you released it?
Well, I definitely knew when the ball was hit to me that it was a big play. I was like, shoot, please catch this and make the right throw. But yeah, it was definitely, I think the pressure was on. We all knew that was kind of what we needed to solidify the game and solidify the win. So definitely kudos to Katie. That was a tough thing coming up the line and trying to make the tag going back. So, yeah.
Also in the weekend, you had, I believe when I looked at the stats, 8 stolen bases overall. Were able to set a new program record, beating the previous record of 31. It's obviously been a key part of your game this season to get on base and as the leadoff hitter and either bunt your way aboard or slap a single or try to reach somehow and then use your speed on the base paths and let someone else try to get you in. But, when you were going into the game, did you have any knowledge of how close you are to that record?
Actually, I did. One of our upperclassmen texted me and she was like, "You're super close. I think you should go for it." And it definitely changed the way I played. I don't know, it's just kind of cool knowing that you're that close. And so everyone was really, confident in me and they were really encouraging. And I know they were all, rooting for it. And it was kind of cool just going into that game.
There were a couple moments that I remember when I was down on the field of some youthful experience learning of when the ball was hit and when to run and when not to run, and got away with it a couple times. And your head coach, Bill Vasco, gave you a couple, knocks to the side of, come on. But this is a very young team, and it's been a lot of learning experiences throughout the year. You've got the couple of senior leadership in Kennedy and Ava, and then Bree, who's the junior, as the upperclassman. But, going throughout the season, how has this team grown from the beginning of the year with playing a bunch of good teams from mostly southern states and the colleges there that are talented, and then coming into conference play at the end?
I think obviously the more games we've played, the more we've grown in confidence. I think, like you said, having those, we don't have a lot of upperclassmen, but the 3 that we do have are very big leaders, and they've kind of taken all of us, like sophomores and freshmen, under their wings. And, they've been the biggest, the biggest voices that we've heard in telling us that it doesn't matter how old you are, you can step up at any point and perform and lead. And I think that's been what has helped us the most, is just knowing that age doesn't really have an impact on how well you can do.
You've obviously seen throughout the year that teams will like to play you in on the infield with knowing your bunt ability and speed on base, but then sometimes you're able to surprise people a little bit and you have that little bit of power in you, where I believe you're now 3rd on the team in home runs with 3 behind both Bree and Jayla. Has that been a part of your game that you've kind of just kept in your back pocket, or is it something that you've always been able to kind of rely on, getting into 2 strikes, you don't want to waste a bunt and maybe strike out, that you can give that power and then hit a home run somewhere?
I think it's kind of always been a part of the game. It just depends on, the coach and everything. I think Coach Bill does a really good job of reading the other teams, and obviously they, a lot of times they do like to play up, and so it's nice to be able to know that you can, put it past them if you have to. And so it's just kind of a nice thing to be able to do, to have the balance.
You look ahead to this weekend and the conference tournament coming up. Obviously, it's such a young team with so many freshmen and sophomores, but we talked to Coach Vasky. We said a couple of games early in the year, the team sort of got rattled and wasn't able to live up to some of their expectations, but it certainly seems within the past week or 2 that the team has really settled down, beating 3 of the 4 games of 2 teams that were top of the conference last year and both made the championship. What's the outlook of the team, and how is everyone sort of feeling going into this upcoming weekend where it seems like everyone's been settled in a little bit more?
I would say we're definitely anticipating a lot. We know that coming in that there's going to be a lot of competition, a lot of tough competition, even the games that we've won, we've definitely had to work for. But what's encouraging is that we know that we're a great team at, if we do happen to start off at a bit of a deficit, we don't get flustered, we don't get rattled. We're able to work our way back. So that's one thing that we do have going for us that I feel like is unique to our team. And I know we're all super excited, and we know that we're capable of going all the way if we put everything together.
Well, Laura, thank you for coming on today to come and talk to us. We really appreciate you being here. Congratulations on setting the record, and hopefully pick up some more this upcoming weekend as well. But we really appreciate your time here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, well, wrapping up the awards will be Laura's head coach, Bill Vasco, from softball. As mentioned, those 3 out of 4 wins. So be sure to stay tuned for the end of the interview. Wrapping up week 15 of the Frostburg Sports Awards with Bill Vasco from softball, who's our coach of the week. They picked up 3 out of 4 wins over the weekend against Charleston and West Virginia State. Coach, locking up at least a share of the North Division title for the season against those 2 teams. How do you think that your team performed and over the season as well?
I was really happy with what we did over the weekend to win 3 out of the 4 against, 2 of the top teams in the South Division. Obviously, disappointed in how we performed in that final game on Saturday, which would have ensured a guarantee of first place in the division. So, disappointed, but, just really proud and pleased overall with the entire season, how we've kept bouncing back. And, I'm just looking forward to the conference tournament now, just excited to have the opportunity and find out later today where we're seated. But, we've always bounced back when we've had a little bit of a rough patch, but I feel like the last week we played really well, minus that little bump of the road against State in the final game. But just super pleased and proud of the girls for what they've accomplished so far this season, and hopefully we can keep that going into the conference tournament.
We start with the Friday doubleheader and a sweep against Charleston, who's been one of the most consistent teams over the past couple of years in the MEC. A really big, kind of tight, hold your heart game 1 win, and then game 2 kind of controlling things from the start and then surviving late on. But that game 1 win, it was really telling about this team and how they've grown over the year with the amount of youth that they have. And we mentioned earlier this season how they struggled with sometimes mentally, but came back, fought back, and came back to win that game. And really a testament to how this team has grown.
Yeah, and the thing that stood out most to me was I felt like we imposed our will against Charleston. And that wasn't the case against some of those teams in the South Division last year where I felt like we were a little bit intimidated. We kept bouncing back all day on Friday when we needed to, and I could see the look on Charleston's face throughout the day when we kept coming back that they just weren't expecting that out of us. And it really, I think, took a toll on them mentally, and we took advantage of it and were able to secure that win, crazy win in the first game. It was just really unbelievable. And then, like you said, come back right back and complete the sweep, and I thought that was a major step for us to do something like that against a team like Charleston.
One of the big plays in that first game, Laura Gilford, with no outs and a runner on third in the 9th with only up by 1 run, caught a fly ball and threw it out to home, and big credit to Katie Ernst at catcher, who kind of up the line and reached back to tag the runner coming from home. But Laura all weekend, 8 stolen bases, had a ton of RBI from that leadoff spot, now on a 17-game hitting streak. Kind of a do-it-all freshman that has really grown into her own, setting a new program record for stolen bases and tying the conference record for stolen bases in a season. Just a big performance overall in all 4 games from her.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously that play at the end there was big, and kudos to both Laura and Katie for holding on and making the play. I really didn't think we had a shot at getting the out, and when we did, it was like I think we were all pretty fired up at that point. It was just a huge turning point there to help us get that win. And, like you said, Laura has really grown throughout the year and kept adding things to her arsenal, both offensively and defensively, where she's gaining some confidence in the things that she can do and trying out new things. And just excited for her to see her growth and development throughout the year. And, I think she's got a good opportunity to do a lot of good things during her career as well. So obviously a good season that's continued to see her get better as the season has progressed. And just like everybody on the team, I think our entire team has continued to get better. When we've had some places where we haven't done well, we've come back and figured out ways to continue to grow and develop both mentally and physically. And again, excited for the team overall as we head into the conference tournament.
One of those areas of improvement I noticed was that heart of the lineup. You look at Jayla Hill and Bree Powell and Jamie Roberts, who, early in the season, and again, we talked about this earlier, of sometimes struggle to get those big hits and be able to drive in the runners on base. And throughout this entire weekend, it seems like those three, and then even the bottom of the lineup, would just get that big hit at a key moment or force the defense into a mistake and keep it going. And it seems that they've figured things out. Laura's going to get on base. She's going to get to second or third with her speed, and then they're going to be able to drive her home. And it seems like that's been a big point of emphasis over the past week or two.
Yeah, I don't remember which game it was now off the top of my head. We had bases loaded, I think, with like nobody out maybe in one of the games in one inning. And we didn't score, and I was like, that hasn't happened for a really long time. We've found ways, like you said, to figure out a way to push across some runs, whether it's been even just a ground ball or a sac fly, whatever it is. We've come through in big places and scored chunks of runs and done really well. And I think one of the things that we've improved upon that's helped with that is we've decreased our strikeouts, especially in those situations, and found ways to put the ball in play and put pressure on other teams. And again, it was not just Charleston. I've noticed it against a lot of other teams. When we do score in chunks, mentally it takes a toll on the defense and the pitchers on the opposing team. And we've kind of taken control of games in those situations. And that's been a big plus in what we've done offensively to be able to take advantage of what other teams' mistakes and do what we need to do to score some runs. So, like I said, that when I can sit there and say, wow, that was a struggle, like you said, early on in the season, and it happened here recently. I was like, man, I don't remember that happening in a while, where we've come through and been able to push across some runs when we needed to. Obviously that's a big part of our success.
On Saturday against Western Union State, you had one of those big innings where you kind of got in their heads and scored a bunch of runs. Were able to come back in that one as well. Get into the games in the bit, but on that day, senior day for you guys, and honoring your two seniors, Kennedy Batchelor, Ava Ganivas, who just so happened they both had some pretty good games as well on that one. But being able to honor those two and their careers here, a couple of transfers, but have really given their all the past couple of seasons, and two important leaders in the locker room as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've been a big part of what we've done over the last 3 years during this transition. Obviously, their first year was cut short because of COVID, but just, I've always thought we were a little bit ahead of pace, like where we thought we should be in terms of the transition from D3 to D2, primarily because we lost that first year due to COVID. That, I felt that was really going to hurt our development overall as a program. But those two have done everything that we've asked them to do in terms of putting in the work and being leaders on and off the field. And it's really nice to be able to honor them for everything that they've done for the program. Like you said, transfers, but come in and bought into what we're trying to do and help take this program to another level. Obviously, you got to look to them as the elder people on the team that have gotten us to where we are right now, and share of first place in the division. So got to give a lot of credit to those two.
You talked about a little bit of the disappointment of losing that final game, and you look ahead into this week and preparing for the conference tournament. You look back to last year, and obviously it was another heartbreaker, losing on basically the final out with a shot to go to the championship game. This year ending on a little bit of a disappointment in the loss, but does that fuel some of their fire? We talked to Laura Gilford earlier today of she wants this team to go farther and use that as motivation going into the conference playoff. Is that something that you see as well from this team, where you don't know who your opponent's going to be next, but they have the confidence now to go ahead and beat some of these really good teams in the conference?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I haven't had a chance to talk to them, and because senior day was kind of at the end of the doubleheader, we didn't really get an opportunity to discuss some of that. And that's something that we're going to talk a little bit today at practice about, where we've put ourselves in a position to be, either the number 1 or number 2 seed based on what happens today with West Liberty and Glenville, but that we've had success against all of the teams that are going to be in the tournament. I feel like we should be going into the tournament with a lot of confidence for what we've accomplished and how we've competed against those teams, and that because we didn't end on a good note in that last game, and I think it was a little more mental than it was some of the physical stuff, that we should come in and have a little bit of a chip on our shoulder now to show what we're all about in the tournament. And I hope, for me personally, that's what I expect. How they come out, that's up to them. So we're going to chat about that a little bit, get 3 good days of practice in, and we're going to face either Charleston or State in the first game. We know that, just don't know which one of the two. So they'll be fresh in our minds and be able to go out and make something happen on day one, and then just go from there. So it's all about winning that first game.
All right, Coach, thank you for coming on today. Obviously, you've got practice in a little bit here, but we appreciate your time coming on here and wish you the best of luck in your preparation and going into the conference tournament. Hopefully, guys, pick up at least a few wins, if not a conference championship. But good luck once again.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Go Bobcats.
Well, that will wrap up this week of the Sports Awards. As Coach mentioned, always go Bobcats.